Hello, GregSolomon. It's me, Wayman29, and I really enjoyed the video on the response to the atheistic video, and your very long explanation of the situation as it happened, and your thoughts on it. I watched the whole 19 minutes and 39 seconds, and found it pretty interesting on how you analyzed what that person had to say. However, I just wanted to point out a few inconsistencies in, or not inconsistencies, maybe a few things that maybe you could research. I noticed that you used the name Jehovah quite a bit, and I noticed that you mentioned that the Psalms were written by David, and another point was that I noticed you mentioned that the Psalms were written in Hebrew mostly. So I was going to talk about those 3 or 4 things. I don't know if you know it or not, but the word Jehovah in the Bible was put there by the writers so that they would be remembered to not use the name Yahweh. So the vowels of Adonai are put in with the consonants of Yahweh, and the result is Jehovah. So anytime they see that, they would either say that name or Adonai, and that later became Lord. But a lot of translations have took Jehovah out and used either the name Elohim, which is a name used for God, which comes from the Elohistic priestly tradition, and the Yahweh comes from the older northern tradition of writing. So there's time periods mingled in the I don't know, maybe I'm not as bright as you, but I took down a few notes here that I've been working on, because I've been going through the Psalms and doing a series of essays, and I need to look here. So I'm gonna be comparing some texts here, and hopefully I can keep you on as long as you kept me on. The Elohim texts are Psalms 42 to 83. That section there is a different time period. So not all the Psalms were written by David. There's Psalms in there, parts of Canaanite hymns that were transferred to the by the religion of Yahwehism to accommodate from Baal to Yahwehistic views. There's also pilgrims who would make pilgrimages to Jerusalem. Those Psalms are found 120 to 134. The particular Psalm that you talk about, where the word "full" is mistranslated, a lot of times people go to the second definition. The first definition of that word in Hebrew is full. However, it could be a irreverent person, or what you mentioned. In Psalms 14, that psalm is split up into 2 parts. One is about the Creator, and the other part's about the Savior aspect. But first, what I want to do is go back through and list some of these translations and find out where we stand in all this. When I'm comparing these, I'm going to compare probably about maybe 5 or 10 Bible versions, so we can kind of get a good idea of what the different texts have translated that word as. The American King James Version. Now the popular conservative text of the KJV, a lot of people feel that most of the translation came from the Hebrew. However, they did consult heavily with the Septuagint, which is the Greek, and the headings for the Psalms, for example, to the chief musician, a Psalm of David, They were added much later by the Palestinian Jews because they realized that when they compared the Qumran texts of the Dead Sea Scrolls, these headings also did exist, and the Aramaic Tugrams came about probably in about 3rd century A.D. And the Masoretic text, which is the text that most of the English translations use, it's a popular, came about in probably the 10th century BC. And there's been other different texts done that scholars compare. You have the Peshitta, the Aramaic version. You have the Westminster Codex, the Leningrad Codex. So when you're talking about that, all these issues need to come in play, and sometimes if they're going for a theological meaning, even into the text, and even the Jewish writers did this sometimes to steer a text towards their political view or towards their theological view. It's been done, and to use text to justify what you're saying has been done for years. Even the writers of the text themselves have done that. For example, in Daniel, where he talks about the Jeremiah prophecy being fulfilled 70 years, he has the angel tell him, no, it's 70 days of years, or weeks of years. So that sort of thing went on. However, here as we're going to run down the list here. The American KJV has the full. The Apostles' Bible, or the English translation of the Septuagint, also has the full. American Standard Version has the full. KJV 1611 has the full. The Century Jewish Bible has the full. The Century Living Version. This one says the Decadent. Let's see. The English LXX by Brenton has the full. The English Standard Version says full. The Good News Bible says full. Let's see. The Hebrew Name Version says full. The International Standard Revised Version says full. The Joseph Smith translation has full. The let's see. Site just gives you most of them have. Try the NIV here. For some reason that didn't come up. I must have a limit on what I can bring up here. However, yep, the NIV also has the word full. So, when you're talking about the creation in that aspect, and if the psalm is to the people, they would be fools. Here you have the last part of being a savior, where Yahweh comes down and he just saves them through the passing from Egypt and defeats the sea, and you have all the imagery, and you have like the creator. So why would you be disrespectful to the person who created you? So that person actually may have thought that person foolish. So in the context of the writer, he would think, kind of like our expression today is, man, you got to be a fool to say that, or that's foolish, because at that time it was pretty ingrained in the Israeli society about the whole Passover and the whole idea of the liberation from Egypt. And some scholars believe that this might have been written later to reflect the returning from the exile from the Babylonian captivity. 14:4 says, will evildoers never learn? Those who devour my people as men eat bread, and who do not call on the Lord? There they are, overwhelmed with dread. For God is present in the company of the righteous. You evildoers frustrate the plans of the poor, but the Lord is their refuge. Oh, that salvation for Israel would come out of Zion. So, you kind of have the idea of, putting their faith in Yahweh and being restored. The text in the first part also talks about they are corrupt and their deeds are vile. There's no one who does good. Yahweh looks down from heaven on the sons of men to see if there are any who understand or any who seek Yahweh. That whole idea. Also, you have parts being borrowed from. I'm sorry, it's not Yahweh, it's Elohim. There, my mistake. Sorry there, Mr. Solomon. However, Yahweh is used in verse 2. The Lord looked down. Yahweh looked down from heaven. So when you put it in the context, you would, from the point of view of the writer, you would have to be a fool. So if these guys don't believe like the way you do, you could possibly see them as a fool. There's no sense to try to go to the second definition of a word to try to say what the word would mean. You could pretty much do that anyways. Like even with the word Elohim, it's for God or whatever, but the second definition is, are gods, especially that would have an impact on Genesis 1 where Elohim says, where they're talking about the creating man, let us go down. A lot of Christians like to view that as the Trinity. However, people think that when Yahweh was talking about us, he meant the heavenly council. I believe in Psalms 82. Let's see here. You have God addressing the council, and another word is used here is Elohim stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the poor, the fatherless, and do justice to the afflicted and greedy. Here, he takes the place of the Canaanite pantheon head El and addresses the heavenly council on their misbehaviors. So, just something to think about. I don't know, maybe you could do some more research on the issue, but those are just my thoughts. Again, hope you enjoyed the video, and take care of yourself. I enjoy your videos, and you're very entertaining. You should really quit smoking.